Welcome. This video is going to demonstrate MINV-Commands. MINV-Commands are part of XBN-PhraseExpress. A MINV-Command is basically a loop with a lot of utilities associated to it for the purpose of calling that loop, for the purpose of creating phrase calls to it, meaning I'm writing PhraseExpress code and I want to quickly create a call to it, and for diagnostics. So I'm going to show you a realistic but simple use of MINV-Commands from all the way from design to using it. And it's going to be split into two different videos. I should start off by telling you that I do not write PhraseExpress code in PhraseExpress at all. I write all of my code in TextPad, save it, import it into PhraseExpress, and then use it. And for every single change that I make it in TextPad, and then I import it into PhraseExpress. So let's show a simple example. So this is just a bogus long phrase. This does nothing useful, but it's just an example of a long phrase that when I create long phrases, I will often put every call on a different line simply because it's easier for me to work with it. It's easier for me to grasp it and see it. When I'm finally done and I'm ready to import it, I will often go home, go to the end, and then go home, backspace, home, backspace, home, backspace. Okay, and now I have an uncompressed phrase. I call this uncompressed because this is the auto text on line 1 and then the body on the line 2. So I'm going to compress it. And now this finally is ready to import into PhraseExpress. Save it and import it. I'll show that later. Okay, so I do this home backspace enough that I've decided that I'm going to automate it. And I'm going to automate it by creating a MINV command. So what I want to call it, let's call it HOBK for home backspace. Okay, so what I want it to do is, first of all, I need to know how many lines there are. Okay, there are 18 lines. Go to the end. I type HOBK N, where N means I want to be prompted for the number. And then I trigger it with, for me, the accent key is a trigger right above the tilde. And then it's going to say how many lines do you want. I'm going to say 18, and then what it's going to do is select 18 lines and then do a regular expression replacement where a new line, an enter, is replaced with nothing. Okay, this is effectively home backspace, just a faster way of doing it. So there are two things necessary to create a MINV command. One is the master phrase, and two is to configure the MINV command. Okay? So first, let's create the master phrase. I've already written it. So this is the master phrase. Okay? Call this with the cursor at the end of the final line, and then it's going to select through the beginning of the line. Let's make this clearer. This will be okay. This will select through the beginning of the line, and then it will ask you. The prompt is not in here. The prompt is elsewhere. That's a utility, an external utility. How many lines do you want? And it will, when I say 18, it will set this variable to 18. It will select up that number of lines, and then do a regular expression replacement. These are some TextPad phrases that I've created. Open the replace dialog with a regular expression flag, change the new line to nothing, close the dialog, and then simply go to the end of the line. Okay. So first we need to configure this, and then we'll come back. So let's configure it. So what we do to configure it is first we need a template, we need all of the possible configuration variables for a MINV command. Okay, so we're going to configure a new MINV command. So the first thing we have to do is we need to print out a template which contains all of the configuration variables. Now we can just do this by running this process called blank configuration template for the MINV-Command project. Okay. Now this prints out all of the configuration variables that we need. Use it for private key 2. Okay, so these are all the configuration variables. You can do a lot of different things. Now I've gone ahead and I've already filled this out, so let's go take a look at it. And here they are. We're only going to talk about the first 5. First is the action name, which is HOBK. This is what I typed to actually trigger it. The master phrase name is the name of this, the master phrase. And I'm going to call it zhome backspace from VLNU. And the from VLNU is just a naming convention that I've decided on that says that this phrase requires this variable to be set in order to function properly. Okay, so VLNU happens to be the abbreviation for ZTV lines up. Okay, and the lines up variable is the heart of the loop. This decides how many lines up are we going to select. Okay, now this is an action. HOBK is an action. An action is something that I want to do right now. HOBK is not something that I would find particularly useful for other phrases to call. I can't imagine calling it from another phrase. Now MINV-Command provides a way to do that no matter what, but most of all, this is an action. This is something I want to do right now. This is a particular kind of action that's set number to prompt action, meaning I don't want to create an HOBK 8 for 8 lines, and I don't want to create an HOBK 3 for 3 lines. I just want to be asked every single time. So this is a set number to prompt action. Turn that on. And what do I want to be asked? This is what I want it to ask me. How many lines up? Okay, so let's compress this, import it, and that'll be that for this video. That VLNU right there, that is what connects the MINV variable to the command. Okay, so let's import this. Okay, import it. Right now, just drag the configuration to the MINV demo. Now we want to generate phrases for each line, and we want to use the description, phrase text, auto text order, and we want the delimiter to be a tab. Okay, so go. Alright, so now it is imported and it's ready to go. So now before we can use this, we need to build the MINV command. Okay, but that's it for this video. We'll continue on in the next video to show how we build the command and then actually use it.